Okay, so how did your grandpa get over from Scotland?
All right. My grandfather's name was the same as my name, James Hotchkiss.
Okay.
And his parents were coal miners in Scotland. And so shortly after the Civil War, the family came over. He was about 9 or 10 years old. And they came over and on a ship, and steerage almost, where the poorer people went. But they, when they got to the United States, then they moved to Kansas because there was coal mining of the kind that they were familiar with, that his dad did.
All right.
So when he was in the 5th grade, they pulled him out of school to help to work in the coal mine. So he never went to school after the 5th grade, and he helped his father and his family dig coal in a coal mine.
Wow. So how did your dad come to work? How did he raise you?
Well, my dad was born in Burlingame, Kansas, where my grandfather was worked in the coal mines all those years, and he didn't want to work in the coal mines, so he made good grades in school. So when he graduated from high school, he went to Topeka to work for the Santa Fe Railroad. But he, to earn extra money, he was a good musician, so he played saxophone in dance bands on the weekends. And my mother saw him, and she was pretty well taken with that.
All right.
So we lived in Topeka, Kansas, and where me and 3 of my sisters were born. And that was during the 30s.
Okay.
We moved from Topeka to Kansas City, Missouri. And so one Sunday afternoon in 1941, December 7th, one of my sisters and I went to a movie. In those days, you could go to a double feature for 10 cents. That's what it cost to go to see a movie. And we went in and sat down, and the movie started, and immediately it stopped. They turned the lights on and said that the Japanese had attacked the United States by bombing Pearl Harbor in 1941 on December 7th. And we were disappointed because we didn't get to see the movie. We didn't understand the importance of the bombing. But we lived there for the next almost 20 years in Kansas City.
All right. And then, so when did you join the military?
Okay. In 1950, the war in Korea was heating up, and we had a draft then. And 18-year-olds, I was 19 at the time, you had to register for the draft. And I knew I was going to be drafted, so I joined the Air Force along with several of my friends. And so here's a picture of 5 of us that went from Kansas City. And you want that picture?
Yeah, I'll take that picture.
And we had just got our haircuts in basic training. So I was there for 2 years, and then when I got discharged, I went back to Kansas City.
Was the discharge honorable or dishonorable?
Oh, honorable.
All right.
I had a medical problem that they let me out a little bit early.
All right.
But they had a thing called the GI Bill, and for guys that getting out of the service, you could help you with college or other training. So I used my GI Bill to get a commercial pilot's license. I wanted to fly for a living, I thought, in those days, and but I eventually got into filmmaking.
All right.
In 1958, I went to work for a motion picture production company in Kansas City, and did all kinds of films. About that time, I married your grandmother, Stephen, And we had 2 children, your mom first.
And Uncle Jimmy.
And then Jimmy, my son. And that was in the early 60s.
All right.